Hey everyone, so my name is Sanvi and I'm a junior at Stevenson High School, and this presentation is the first part of an online community initiative designed to introduce STEM and medicine to students who might not have had the opportunity to explore these careers. And today we're going to talk a little bit about biology and medicine. So before we get started, I just want to quickly discuss what we're going to cover in this presentation. And so first we're going to talk about fields in biology and then careers in biology and in medicine. And then we're going to discuss about how you guys can explore biology on your own. And then we're going to end with some of the latest advances in biology and kind of what's next in this field. So getting into the fields of biology, the first one we have is microbiology, which involves bacteria, and it can span for many things, including like how bacteria interact with each other, or with their environment, or even with different chemical substances that we can introduce. And next we have botany, which I'm sure many of you guys know. Botany includes plants, and this includes like many different things, not only just the way plants are made and how they're structured, but also how the structure correlates with their functions in their different plant parts. And next we have biochemistry, which is a really interesting field which involves the chemical processes in living things. And this can include many things from cellular transport to cellular respiration, how really different chemicals are involved in the way our body processes work. Next we have ecology, and many people are confused between what's the difference between like botany, ecology, and zoology, which we have later. So a botany is specifically the study of plants, whereas ecology is more about the relationship between living things and their environment, or between living things and non-living things. And this would involve the study of populations and how populations change over time, or even how different populations evolve due to different non-living factors. And then next we have genetics, which is the study of genes and how they are used or how they can be regulated. And this, more recently, this field has kind of become very focused on genetic engineering and how we can change our genes or genetics to better our lives, or even get rid of certain genetic diseases. And next we have zoology, which is the study of animals and how they interact with each other, and how we can observe and measure their behaviors. And this by no means is an exhaustive list. There are many, many, many fields in biology, and you guys have the power to explore any field you want. So next we're going to talk a little bit about different careers in biology, and the first one that we have listed is research. Now, research can really be anything that you want it to be. In any of the previous fields, like research is an option and you can look into whatever you want. And so this basically involves publishing many different papers and writing on different new discoveries that you're discovering in a lab setting. Next, we have a pharmacologist, which is a career that involves prescribing and dispensing medications to different patients. And this is really interesting because it really allows you to have more of a direct interaction with people that you want to help more directly. And then next we have ecologists, which is definitely a field you can pursue under research as well. But ecologists could also involve more of like field work, going outside, actually physically doing things rather than just being in a lab all day. And then next we have biotechnologists, and this is a really broad field with many applications. And biotechnology is essentially using biology or biological means for a technological purpose. And recently, this has become a very large field in biomedical engineering as well as genetic engineering, so that people can, for example, like if someone has a genetic disorder, then we can fix that, or if someone like needs a new organ, then we can make that rather than them having to live with the repercussions. And then next, there's always teacher. You can always be a biology teacher, which if you enjoy like working with kids, then this is always a really good option. Next, we have forensic science, which is a really interesting field which uses biology to analyze the physical evidence from crime scenes. And this can be really interesting for many of you guys to pursue as a career. And then next, we have health policy, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's how different policies in government policies can affect healthcare, and this can be done at like your local, state, or even national level. So now we're going to talk a little bit about careers in medicine, and biology and medicine are very similar career paths, and many people end up going to college for biology and then end up becoming like having a career in medicine. So I thought it would be important to also include this in this presentation. So our first one we have is pediatrician, which I'm sure many of you know. It's just going to the doctor for children specifically. So again, if you have an interest in medicine and you enjoy working with kids, then this would be a great fit for you. Next we have psychiatrist, which involves giving therapies and prescribing medications to people with mental illnesses, and this can include like anxiety and depression as well. Next, we have oncologist, which is involved in the treatment of cancer. And if any of you guys are interested in cancer or the dynamics of cancer, how possibly it can be cured, then this would be a great field for you to explore. Next, we have surgeon. I'm sure all of you know what a surgeon does. So they perform different operations, and surgery can actually be broken up into many different fields as well. Like there's cardiac surgery, neurosurgery, even plastic surgery. So yeah, there's that with surgeons. And then next we have nursing, which mainly nurses mainly basically assist main doctors doing whatever they need to do. And then we have dentists, which I'm again sure all of you know that dentists work with the teeth and mouth to diagnose different things or to even just keep them clean and healthy. Next, we have diagnostic medicine, and this is again a really broad field which can involve anything from diagnosing different illnesses directly or even developing new technologies as to how we can detect illnesses or developing new lab tests or even performing these lab tests. So next we have EMT, which is more of an emergency medicine career. So this would involve like being in an ambulance and being the first person to be on the scene whenever an ambulance is called. So now we're going to talk a little bit about how you guys can explore biology on your own. So one of the biggest things I think is to stay up to date with any of the latest advances in biology, and a great way to do that is through a website called Science Daily. It has a lot of information about all the recent discoveries and advances, not only in biology, but really any science field you guys are interested in. The next thing I would say is it would be a great idea, especially if you're interested in like ecology or botany, to volunteer with environmental organizations. As I'm sure you guys know, climate change is a really big issue right now, and these organizations are always looking for more help and more volunteers. The next thing is especially if you're interested in medicine, then you should try to get a volunteer at your local hospital, because this would really give you more of an insight as to how the field works and give you even a little bit of experience and see whether it would really be a good fit for you. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the latest advances in biology, and I'm sure all of you guys know about the coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, and this has been like the biggest topic in the news, not just in biology, but it's been completely dominating the news for the past few weeks. And the main two things that I think people are talking about is how the spread can be controlled and how treatment can be developed. And regarding how the spread can be controlled, there's really two different sides to this argument. Some people believe in the idea of herd immunity, which is the idea that basically is if like 95% of people roughly are immune to the disease, then the disease will have a hard time finding people to infect, meaning that there's immunity in a large group of people having immunity, even if there are certain small groups of individuals that don't have it. And the like basic idea behind this is that if everyone gets it and then everyone recovers, then the disease won't be able to infect anyone else. But the main problem with this argument is that it would really overload the healthcare systems and probably cause more deaths, even though it would probably have the same amount of infections as if we didn't do this. And then the next way that people are mainly combating the spread is through social distancing, which I'm sure many of you are experiencing right now. So the premise behind that is that we would have the same amount of cases, but they would be spread out over a large period of time. And so this would involve, like I said, it would be the same amount of cases as in the herd immunity aspect, but there would be less deaths because the healthcare systems wouldn't be overloaded. However, the main reason people are against this or opposing this is because, as I'm sure you guys have all experienced, it can really put a stop to your life, and it can have a lot of devastating economic effects. So now getting into how treatment can be developed, there's many different things, and I'm sure like some of you might even be keeping up with how treatments are being developed or what treatments are being developed, but there's mainly two routes, and that is developing a drug or medication that would, like an antiviral medication that would help coronavirus, or a vaccine. And both of these routes would be viable, but they do take time to develop and time to test and really ensure that they work successfully. So that always has to be kept in mind. And, hopefully, as we are all at home right now, hopefully that this will be done as quickly as possible and the treatment will be as effective as possible. So that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you guys are all staying safe and doing well. Bye. Thank you.